Cablevision. Thank you for watching. It's time for talk. Each evening at this time, Monday through Friday, Rosemary interviews local personalities and others who bring items of interest to this community. Time for Talk is a community betterment service. Tonight, Rosemary takes us by means of portable camera out of our studios and maybe into your neighborhood. And now, it's time for Talk.
We're going to talk about breads today. We're going to talk about yeast breads and all kinds of breads. We have as our guest again Nelson Grabau, who is the Food and Nutrition Specialist with the Missouri Cooperative Extension Service, and I always make a mess of that if I don't just read it off of here. But planning ahead what to do ahead of time that you can just pull out of the freezer and make your guests feel welcome, and wouldn't I like to open my freezer and find a bunch of these things in there. To do that, I have to put them in there, don't I, Nelson?
That's right. That means you have to plan ahead to what you want for the Christmas breakfast, and
your recipes,
do it ahead of time.
All right, and your recipes are available through the Extension Service that's located in...
These are not published recipes, but if anyone would care to have them, I'd be glad for them to call the Extension office in the basement of the courthouse here in Kennett and request the yeast bread recipes, and I will send it to them.
All right. Now, yeast breads, and of course you talked about on another show, you talked about your
the food groups.
Your basic food groups. So I know today we're going to talk about grain.
Right, and every day we should have a minimum of 4 servings from this grain group. There could be rice or oat cereal or flour, and there's so many different kinds of flour. As you know, we have to use fat also and sugar with.
But we won't talk about that.
No, we're going to.
In fact, I would like to have all my 4 servings at one time, just from this of a morning. Would that be permissible?
Could be. You'll have to be cautious about that 5th food group, though, Rosemary.
All right, that's right. Now, you have made these with a regular yeast recipe. Did you say something to me about that was interesting about a fast yeast?
Yes, all the breads made here were made with a quick rising yeast. It's brand new on the market as of September the 15th.
Now, is it available in most stores, do you think?
I found it in a supermarket locally.
Okay, how does that differ, Nelson?
Well, this quick rising yeast is a new patented strain of yeast.
It really is a yeast that rises faster.
Yes, it is. It's just like the other yeast, except it's a different family, different strain.
Oh, okay.
There are directions on the packet of the yeast that indicate you need to use water with each packet. You know, yeast comes in 2 packets to a package, and you do have to follow those directions. It suggests that if your recipe does not call for water, that you substitute the water for a portion of whatever liquid is used.
So you have to have water.
I did do this.
And your experience with the new yeast, you think it's as good? You think the taste?
The quick rising yeast is supposed to cut the rising time for yeast breads up to approximately 1/2. And I found that it cut 1/4 to 1/2.
All right.
My house runs a little bit cool, and so the bread does not rise as fast in my house as it might in a warmer place.
All right, so
yeast dough can be put in a microwave or a conventional oven to speed the rising time.
I must do something wrong with the microwave. I don't seem to have good luck with the microwave and yeast dough rising. The best way seems to me like is plan ahead and just give it plenty of time.
Well, I think this is something that each individual has to try on their own to find out what they want to do.
All right, suppose you tell us about what sort of things you've done here.
This was a Portuguese sweetbread recipe that was rolled into different shapes and braided. Then it was, on the cookie sheet, was put in a crescent form and baked. After it had cooled, then I drizzled confectioner's glaze over it, and decorated it. My little helper, as I said, decorated it with red and green cherries.
Well,
I think they kind of went overboard. Crushed or slivered nuts would be good on top. However, young children do not handle nuts very well, so
but they really can
the nuts were
cherries
omitted. And on this side, over we have a coil of the same Portuguese sweet dough. It was coiled, made into a long coil, and then
okay, the same dough.
Same dough.
Same
the
dough.
Portuguese
All right.
and
just
put in a 9-inch pie pan, allowed to rise, and then baked. It is also decorated with confectioner's icing plus raisins and a few cherries on top. Both of those are classified as sweet yeast doughs and very good. The other bread that you see comes from a rich white bread recipe. I have here some breadsticks that were made, and I think we were talking earlier about how we perhaps learn to bake bread by watching someone else mix up bread dough and take a little piece of dough and roll it, and then between your hands, you remember? And,
yes, I've done that. The biscuits till they get sort of black.
And one of the bread-making authorities has commented that he has real trouble making bread sticks, because he can't roll them thin like a pencil, which is the way.
Now that hasn't particularly bothered you in this one.
No, I have some real. Here's one I like too. The shape, that could be something else.
Yes, it could be.
Looks like a painting or figurine or something.
Right, all of these do. Now, have you, by deliberate design, made the center? They just sort of baked out that way.
It's
all right, here's
it's
one
a lot of
sort
fun to try to roll out.
I bet you're just like a kid when you're rolling these out,
sure.
and you just say whoopee and roll.
And then I had coarse salt to sprinkle on top.
Okay, now that's right.
You can also use fennel seed or some of the other seeds. Caraway would be good on them.
All right, now, do you put it on before you bake it?
Yes, no, it's put on before you bake.
Okay, any sort of seeds that they might like.
Right.
All right, and so that is kind of fun. I've never made breadsticks, and I don't know why.
Well, they have another function. I have them here because I have a round loaf of bread illustrated, which I have cut off the top. I put a bowl around it and cut around it. And
you just laid the bowl over it, cut down through it. Okay.
And then lifted off the top and pulled out these pieces of bread, put around the side. In the center, I have lined it with aluminum foil. However, if you have a bowl that would fit in that space, you could use that. But the foil serves the purpose.
Right, and you could tuck it in for all. Now you want to get rid of most of the center of the bread, because that's what you're going to eat right now.
Right.
So you're going to use this just for a bowl?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the bowl for a low-calorie dip. And I would take my pick and take a piece of bread that I would dip into the dip and proceed to enjoy it.
If we just had dip in that, we could just stand here and...
I didn't put dip in because that would be your choice, what kind of dip you want.
All right. Now, what kind of dip, or did you bring a recipe? Did
Yes,
I see a sheet
did.
for some sort of
we do have a home economics guide in the Missouri Cooperative Extension Service that says make your own low-calorie salad dressings. And the basic salad dressing makes a marvelous dip.
cottage cheese, buttermilk, garlic salt? Well, very simple to make.
And if you want to add other flavors, you can. Curry is also good if you're fond of that, or any other seasoning.
Fresh vegetable dip with cucumber and radishes or green goddess. Anything to go in there that you can just dip your bread into.
And you see, it's nutritious if you follow this basic low-calorie dressing or dip.
All right, now that's I keep forgetting. For me, I'm not so much worried about the nutrition as just something really good.
Well,
but you keep stressing.
When people talk about nutrition, they think, oh, that's terrible. We don't like to eat that stuff. But good food should be nutritious. Why have it if it's not? And it should be prepared safely and served safely also. I'm always advocating nutrition and food safety.
All right, now you don't have to worry so much about the bread being preserved well.
The bread you don't.
Now the salad dressing?
The dip you might. It depends if you used a protein dip, for example, a tuna fish or chicken salad dip or something like that.
Oh, you mean that might be used in this?
If you happen to make a meat dip.
You know, when I saw this, I thought of pumpkins and Halloween, and I have never seen a big loaf of bread cut out like this, but that's very clever. That would be an interesting centerpiece for a group with finger foods, wouldn't it?
And it's easy to make a round loaf of bread like this, too. I do encourage people to try to make yeast breads. They're such fun to make and really so easy, and they freeze so well.
And they're such fun to eat, too. That's the part I like.
They do freeze well, which means that you can prepare them ahead of time and freeze them. The one caution about thawing, and that is they do have to be thawed in the wrapper, preferably overnight. And if you're going to decorate bread that you have frozen, or that you're going to want to serve decorated, you want to wait until after it is thawed. The decorated...
You mean you wouldn't decorate this, say...
And freeze it, no.
Oh, you wouldn't?
No, it would have to be frozen before it was decorated, and then save the decorating to maybe just before you were ready to use it. But using a confectioner's sugar glaze is so simple and so quick, it's no problem
that you don't care if the bread's warm or not when you put that on there.
Well, the bread should be cool.
Okay.
When the confectioner's sugar.
I can tell I've been doing everything wrong, but that's all right.
No, some recipes do call for serving it, for putting the glaze on it when it's hot.
All right.
This confectioner's sugar says to put it on when it's cool, and it works very well.
All right. Now,
I think it does.
All right, you have another loaf here hollowed out.
This is my treasure chest.
You're a great one for doing away with the inside of bread.
Well,
I see
we needed the bread for the party over here.
Okay, all right.
And you see, this is a rye bread loaf, actually, and we have rye bread, and then we have what came out of here. And this is a chest. It has a lid to it, and we have put sandwiches inside. Those happen to be pumpernickel with cream cheese and raisins.
Okay,
And I have used cookie cutters. See, that's a bell.
So you have a Christmas bell.
Santa Claus is in there, along with the Christmas tree. Or you could use the small canopy cutters and even make smaller sandwiches to serve on a buffet table. This is a fun way to use bread.
All right, and it automatically tastes better when you pick it out of something like that than if you just have it on it. Well, sure, if you just have sandwiches on a plate. That's a very clever idea.
In both of these cases, we have used bread as a case. A treasure chest for sandwiches and a treasure chest for a salad dip.
Okay, so there you have the bowl, and when you get through, there's no cleanup. You just eat the bowl, too.
If you like. So oftentimes people will preserve the bowl and use it another time.
Okay, all right. If your group is not especially hungry, you may save the bowl.
Right.
But this is one case where they might eat the bowl, too. All right, we have been looking at yeast bread recipes, and we've been talking with Nelson Grabau, who has been giving us some good ideas for yeast breads, and I'm going to try this. Now, this is one thing I'm going home and make out of yeast bread, and I'm going to have at on my Christmas table just a big stack. Of course, I'm going to find some stuff. Well, you know what you have that in? Shall I tell that? I just now noticed that. Do you see that? She has is that really what it is?
Yes, that's really what it is.
I'm not going to tell you really what it is. It's a flower pot.
A plastic flower pot.
I have never seen a clear plastic flower pot, but that's just a flower pot. And now then, it's a festive. You have all sorts of good ideas.
You know, Rosemary, you could use these bread sticks as a vehicle to dip out if you didn't want to use your bread for breadcrumbs or some other.
All right, very good. All right, been good to have you come out to show us.
Thank you, Rosemary.
All of this you can plan ahead and have on your Christmas table.
It's fun.
All right,
Have a Merry
thank you very
Christmas.
much. Thank you.